ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hari Bol and Hare Krishna. Welcome to all of you. This is
Thank you.
what we discussed last time as the key. Please perform devotional service to Krishna. Yajnarthat karmana is what we concluded. And these are some of the recap questions which you wanted to ask and could not ask. Right now, I'm helping you with it. It started with us trying to examine in the third chapter. Arjuna is getting confused. So you're telling that I should not do anything. And you're also telling I should be intelligent in my action. And you're just saying, you're saying so many things I can't understand. And then Krishna gives an analysis with Sankhya Yoga and this, and then we discussed. So does Krishna consciousness mean retirement from material life? Does sannyasa mean that person does nothing? No. Nobody can be without doing work, including the sannyasi. Only thing that the sannyasi, one who renounces, does everything for Krishna. Yajnartat karmano anyatra.
Something new. Yeah.
Everybody has to do. Nobody can be free. Why? That is then point number 3. No one can be without performing work. One is forced to by the modes of material nature anyway. Better you utilize and do seva to the Supreme. In this way, you will not get entangled. Then action in intelligence is better for purification and attainment of perfection than premature renunciation or pretense without purification, because it will disturb you, will not make it. So Krishna is saying, no, you act. So no one can be without performing work. That also we saw. One has to work at least for the maintenance of the body. You cannot be work. Example is saying you have to get up, take bath, pass stool, urine, eat food. You have to do work anyway. No one can be without work. So, and another thing is, since you are a soldier, you must act according to your occupational duty as a Kshatriya. Because if you don't do that duty, you can be sinning. Right? So therefore he concludes Yajnartat karmano anyatra. Okay? So this is what we saw. I am summarizing this in a little chart for you. Krishna gives actually a prescription, which is explained by Prabhupada very nicely. See, you're in the material world and you have material desires. You can't artificially renounce them without getting a higher taste. Raso varjam raso apyasya param drishtva nivartate. We will read that further as we go down. I think we read it also in the second chapter. So we need to get a higher taste for spirituality, for devotional life, everything. Till then, we are still in the lower a little bit and we are bobbing up and down. So the design is made by the Lord himself. He says, within the boundary of rules and regulations of religious life, you can satisfy yourself materially. That means controlled satisfaction in a grahastha life. So satisfying your desires in a religious way, not like a wild animal, but there is a boundary for that. If you remain within the boundary, within religion, then you're a human being. Otherwise, you're an uncivilized animal. That's what happens to people when they don't follow religion, don't have codes of human behavior. They do whatever they like, whenever they like. So they become animals. Civilization, civilized human being means religious codes. Because what that does to you, it gives you purification. Because you're controlling yourself, you're getting purified. And when if you get purified, you'll automatically get detached. And then you are in a better position to offer the works completely to Vishnu, the fruit of your work. You please Vishnu and your sacrifice becomes successful in the human life. So many times we need to know what is really a sacrifice. And we learned from Prabhupada in his purport that this is something that you need to remember, because there's so much confusion about religion and philosophy and this and that. You have Western philosophy, you have Vedic philosophy, and nowadays people are looking at things through the Western philosophy, looking at our religion through Western philosophy. You can look at the Vedic religion only through the Vedic philosophy, then only you'll understand. You cannot use a different lens to the Vedic epistemology. You can't use the Western epistemology and methodology and try to look at religion. This is what the Britishers did and demeaned religion and took away the philosophy and corrupted it and everything. So even today we look at it that way. So Prabhupada said, religion means philosophy, both go together. Religion without philosophy is sentiment of fanaticism, which we see very common nowadays. Nobody reads Bhagavad Gita. Nobody reads even the Quran and the Bible properly. Even if they do, they don't understand it properly. And in this way, they have their own type of explanations for everything. And they have a fanatic religion, sentimental religion, like that. Philosophy without religion, like you see in the Western world, have their own philosophy, is mental speculation. Each one produces his own philosophy. So these are dangerous. In the Vedic system of thought, there is philosophy, there is religious codes, very nicely wedded together. And that's what we are trying to learn here from Bhagavad Gita. So those are things we did in the last session, just a brushing up along with you, bringing you to pace. Then you will see that Krishna is saying in the 10th chapter, I have a design, the world is made, how things should be done in this world. And there is a system, and there are people at various levels. There is an infrastructure. What is that? Sahayajnaha prajaha srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam eshavo asva ishtakamadhuk. What does this mean? Okay, I will ask somebody to read this. Who would like to read this? Shanti Vidyasagar?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yeah. Can you read this translation?
Yes, Maharaj. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with the sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed them by saying, Be thou happy by this yagna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Shanti. Krishna is explaining that I have made a system, and this system consists of three types of people. What is that? He's saying, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures, that is Vishnu, sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu. Three things: sacrifices for Vishnu, men, demigods. He blessed them, be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So this is creation. It is supposed to function in a particular way. A human being is supposed to do certain things in a particular way for living happily in this world as per the prescription of the Lord himself, who cares for you. And since you're a person who has these desires materially, he has made this whole creation for you, and he's put up a system where you can reasonably enjoy and at the same time become perfect and achieve liberation. Both material and spiritual things can happen. That is the system. So the system consists of many different elements. And the main thing in that is that yajna aspect. What is yajna? Yajna means a performance. Yajna means you get involved in it and using the material faculty and the material dravya or material things you can offer to the Lord through the demigods. They are authorized agents to receive it on behalf of the Supreme Lord. That performance of chanting Vedic hymns, offering in the fire and chanting the thing and meditating, that should be done by everybody. Everybody who is a human being should be done, and that yajna helps everybody to reach Vishnu, to actually become purified and get the ultimate benefit, right? So the beneficiary and benefactor of all these yajnas is actually Vishnu, Krishna. And in between are involved the demigods as agents, franchisee. They are the ones who collect it. And then finally, everything goes to Vishnu. The conditioned souls can gradually become Krishna conscious and self-realized by performing this yajna. So this is a simple thing. But of course, you'll be asking me, you mean to say now I can put a big yajna kunda, start a fire in my house, and then put some ghee inside and chant some mantras? I will be able to go and go to Vishnu? No. This Kali Yuga, the yajna is a little different. That is also prescribed in the scriptures. Yajno vai Vishnuhu. It's mentioned, Kalau Sankirtana Keshavam. That the easy way in Kali Yuga, because you won't get even a priest properly to do a yajna like that. You won't get pure materials. You won't get pure ghee. You'll get ghee always with animal fat in it nowadays. You will not get pure that, this, anything. Even the priest may not be pure. So all these problems are there. Therefore, the simple way of doing yajna is introduced. Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedashaha. In Kali Yuga, it is mentioned that the Lord himself, Krishna, has come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is propagating the yajna for the age, is chanting the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This very simple, and it is designed for people in Kali Yuga who are by nature not so capable of doing all these big yajnas. Mandha, Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagyaki, Upadruta hai. Manda Buddhi and unfortunate, very disturbed mentally and small lifespan, Alpa Yusha hai. So it's not easy for them to do all this. Some of these yajnas take very long time to do and require lots of amazing, priests and that and this and everything. So it's not possible in Kali Yuga to do that. So Prabhupada is very clearly quoting from Vedas and from the Bhagavad and all that and saying the recommended yajna for this age is been simplified, zipped down by the Lord himself, because we are Kali Yuga people, chant the name of God. It's equivalent to doing all those big yajnas that were done. Putrakameshti yajna was done by Maharaj Dasharath to get Ramachandra as a son. Vajappayi yajna was done by Prajapati Daksha. Then Bali Maharaj did another yajna to get this, that. This was a methodology then. And today, anybody, anywhere, anytime can do this Sankirtan yajna. Right? This is the method. So, the principle is that Krishna has sent demigods. So, Krishna is saying here in verse 3.11, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyah paramavapsyata. You see, in the beginning I sent forth, that's very nicely mentioned here. If you go to Sahayajna Praja Srishtva Purovacha Prajapatihi, and then Krishna is saying that these demigods, you will do all these sacrifices which are given you the know-how of us. If you do these sacrifices, Devan Bhavayatena, you go to Shloka 11 and you offer it to the demigods. The demigods will become pleased with you. The demigods will be pleased by the sacrifices you're doing because you're following Vishnu's order. You're following within the system that is set up. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And then what they'll please you, and then they'll cooperate with you. And they will give you what you need materially. Right? Whatever your material needs are there, Krishna is outsources to the demigods. They're like Krishna's BPO, business process outsourcing. He is very sophisticated. He deals only with the spiritual aspects, devotional aspects of everybody. And the material requirements, he outsources it to the demigods. And the demigods are his agents. If you do this yajna, that is a tool, then you will get what you want. You will get rain, you will get grain, you will get nice minerals, you will get sunshine, you will get air, you will get all these things very nicely. You just have to do yajna. Every human being, cultured, civilized human being, must recognize the system and follow these laws. This is what is called religion, right? So it's mentioned here, Ishtan bhogan hivo deva dasyante yajna bhavitah Tairdattan apradayebhyo yo bhunkte stena evasaha. And they'll give you these things. But you must acknowledge it. You must acknowledge it because you know who is giving it, who is the supplier. So here I've drawn a triangle for you. A triangle is Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, right? He is actually the supplier to the demigods. He is the Maiva Vihitan Hitan. What the demigods are giving to you, I am only the chief supplier. They are only the distributors. You know, if you take agency of Hindustan Lever and distribute all their products to all the shops and everything, you have a big go down. Some people do that. But you are not the person who's manufacturing Hindustan Lever products or whatever products they are. You are getting it from the main this thing and you are only distributing them. So same way the demigods only distribute it. Maiva Vihitan Hitan. In the 7th chapter, Krishna says, I am only giving it to the demigods to be given to you. This you must not forget. So Vishnu is the chief original supplier and the demigods are distributors of all your requirements, right? So you have yajna between the jiva conditioned soul and the demigods. There's a relationship. Parasparam means between them, cooperation. You do the yajna and apply, I'll give you the stuff. I'm pleased with you. You're following Krishna's order. So there is a yajna reciprocation between demigods and conditioned souls. And the demigods get everything from Vishnu. So what you should do, you should not simply take it, give it to me. I know anyway it's coming from Vishnu only from me. You're not the owner. Like that. That's not the way to look at it and simply take it and enjoy. No, you must complete the circle. You must acknowledge, my Lord, you have provided me with this facility because I'm a stupid idiot who has got this material desire still in me. And you have taken great pains to create this material world, put the demigods in place, give me these supplies and be kind to me for catering to my material requirement. And I am praying to you, I'm offering this to you in sacrifice. Yajna sishta sina santo muchyante sarvakil bishai. Only what is an sacrifice and what is offered in sacrifice to Yajna by Vishnu should I consume. That is what is called prasada. We don't eat things directly as soon as they come out of the market to your house or from the farm to your house. We prepare nice foodstuffs and offer it to the Lord. They want to acknowledge. They want to tell him, yes, I understand that you are the one who's arranging everything through the demigods. And then you eat only Vishnu Prasada, Yajna Sishta, right? That is proper conduct and that is decency, etiquette for a human being. In every proper house, you will see that they will have a little Shalagram Shila, they'll have a photo, they'll offer the food, put tulasi on it, and then they will accept the prasadam. Even the Christians do. Before the meal, you will see them. They will pray. Of course, they have all sorts of things which maybe Krishna will not take, but they have all sorts of food, tamasic food and everything. But they assume, our Father, you have given us this. They will acknowledge. So this is a tradition everywhere, not only here, but in India nowadays, maybe people don't do that much, right? So everybody survives naturally if they follow the system established by God. Vishnu, demigods, yajna, and jiva, 4 factors. All these are personalities and the yajna is a tool for relating with Vishnu. This is human religion and this is the proper way of living. So Krishna goes further to say, Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat annasambhavaha yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavaha. Right? So further Krishna is saying that you all need food to subsist, isn't it? Is there anybody here who doesn't eat? Is there anybody here who takes gulps of air in the morning and sustains himself? I definitely like to meet him. You will solve the economic crisis and the poverty situation everywhere, if at all. Is there anybody? Nobody. Obviously nobody. And Krishna is saying it, everybody needs grains to survive. Note, Anna, Annad bhavanti bhutani. That is important for you to note. Annad bhavanti bhutani. What is it? Anna. Living bodies subsist on food grains. which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born out of prescribed duties. Now, having explained what yajna is, where does that yajna come from? It comes from you performing the prescribed duties properly. That itself is a great yajna. In the prescribed duties, you will see this is mentioned. Right? This further, he's telling, Yajnasishtasina santo muchyante sarvakilbishai bhunjate te tvamagam papam ye pachanti atma karanat. Right? Can you read that, Priya?
The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin.
Thank you, Priya. See that statement, very strong. A decent human being who knows the rules of life, knows the system set up, he will offer the food that he has prepared to the Lord. That is called Yajna Sishta. He will eat only Yajna Sishta. And he will not simply cook and eat only for enjoyment. Of course, the Yajna Sishta also can be enjoyed, but after it is offered. Right? This is a civilized human being. It's very important for us to do. This is the cycle that Krishna is explaining. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Every living being subsists on food grain somehow or the other, indirectly or directly. And food grains come from rains. If there are no rains, you don't get crops. Rains are coming because we do yajna for the demigods. Indra gives the rains. Om Indraye Namaha, Idam Indraye Idam Na Mama, and they will give offerings to Indra and pacify him. And then he will send the rains. And where is that yajna details given? It is coming from prescribed actions, Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. Karma Brahmodbhavam Vidhi. Brahma Udbhavam Vidhi means it's coming from the Vedas. Brahmakshara Samudbhavam. Akshara means never wrong, will never fall. Kshara and Akshara. It's perfect. So there the Vedas are perfect. They are enunciated by the Lord, and all these karmas and the Vedic hymns and chants for that and the how to do it, everything is coming from the Veda. And then when you do this, you will get food grains, you will get rains. This is the chakra. It's called the cycle of sacrifice. These are technical detail which Krishna is giving. So you'll see there's a effect and a cause, and effect and a cause, and who is the ultimate cause? Causality. What's the reality? It's all coming from Krishna. How we need food grains to eat and survive. Today we are getting food grains, eat and survive by working in a factory. Right? And then we work very hard, and then we get some money. And we take the money and go to the market and buy vegetables, fruits, grains, pulses, oil, ghee, all that, bring home and cook things. In the Vedic system of thought, you don't have to go for a job. If you go cultivate the soil, the bhumi, automatically you will get all sorts of crops and vegetables and pulses and everything. And only thing you need to depend on is rains. And for rains, you do yajna, you get plenty of food. It's an amazing factory, earth. You don't need to go to work, actually speaking. For food, you don't need to go to work. But the false economy that the people have floated, the great leaders have floated, is they don't want to give you the free food that's coming from the ground. They're making you work for it. Actually, you need not work for it. The land is there. You have a small piece of land. You can keep a cow and you can grow grains. You can grow all sorts of vegetables. We are growing now in our place. We grow all sorts of many vegetables and bananas and bendi and brinjal and shak, what do you call that, spinach, fruits. We have many things growing. And it grows from the ground. It's like magic. Nobody has really thought about it. It's real magic. that you plant a seed, water it, the sun, rain, it grows. And it gives you beautiful fruits, everything. Grains, everything you're getting like that only. But because of the economy, all that they go and sell and make money and again buy the same thing and eat. Some funny thing. It's some strange type of an economy we have. Actually, if people all start cultivating, this economy will collapse. It's an artificial thing put up. Some people are making money and many others are suffering. Many people are giving up the farming and everything which gives them food. So we don't want to talk too much about it, but this is a false system. The system set up by the Supreme Lord is so good. You need to work very less. You need to just plow the land a little bit, and then only for your supply you will do. You won't do acres and acres so that you'll get so many tons of grains and you can do business and sell it and export it and do this and that and get foreign exchange. All that they don't do. Each one has got their own patch of land. They'll grow on their own and they'll exchange. You grow this, I grew that, take it. Everybody will exchange among themselves and everybody gets everything. Very smart. Very smart. Agriculture and growing from the land is one of the smartest things, one of the most magical things, one of the most progressive things to do. Everybody knows that in the heart in India and in every agricultural country, they know. All over the world is actually agriculture based. So you get rains, and if you do yajna, you'll get the rains. And you get this yajna details in the Vedas. And in this way, there is the cycle set up. The ultimate causality is Vishnu. Yajno vai Vishnuhu. Therefore, we get the grains and we offer it to the Lord. Yajna sishta sina santo. We don't directly eat it off, thinking I made it, I did it, I worked hard in the farm and we got it. Oh, really? Then where is the bhumi from? Let's say you grow it on your own farm without a bhumi. There is magic there. There is rain, there is sun, there is the earth and the seed. All these things together produce food for you. All you do is a little work. You do a little work. So this is a beautiful system set up by Krishna. Nobody will go hungry in this world, but unfortunately, nobody is following it because there is a godless civilization. So Krishna is saying, karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishchitam. Just what I illustrated in the chart is here spoken by Krishna. Again, Satyendra Hiren Desai, can you read that? I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah. Maharaj. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice.
Thank you very much. So you see the connection between God and the sacrifice that you perform. Why? All these Karmakanda portion of the Vedas will teach you how to do this yajna. And the Vedas are coming from the Supreme Lord. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam. The Vedas are coming from the Supreme Lord. And therefore, in whatever you use from the Vedas to chant and produce the yajna and do the needful, you will find that God is situated in all your acts because you're following his instruction. And theirs are coming from the Vedas, and the Veda is coming from the Lord. So anything you do in accordance with the Veda contains God in it. In all acts of sacrifice, in keeping with the Vedic instruction, you will have God automatically present in it, right? So it is holy, it is sanctified. Nityam yajna pratishtitam. He is always situated in the yajna, right? So Krishna is saying, you must follow this chakram. Evam pravartitam chakram, the circle of sacrifice. Nanuvarta yatiha yaha. Aghayur indriya ramo mogham partasa jivati. Those who don't do that are actually foolish and they're living in vain. Okay? So, Shalini, please read that on this thing, if you don't mind.
My dear Arjuna, One who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain.
Thank you.
Maharaj.
So can you see that? There is a system set up by the Lord. And there is so much interconnectedness between the earth, between the flora and the fauna that is there, between the atmosphere, the demigods, God. It's all interconnected. Everything in this world is interconnected with God. God is in the center. It's because of disconnect that we are all suffering. This coronavirus and Omicron or Delta variant or whatever it is, all this is punishment for remaining disconnected with God and utilizing the natural resources of this world without acknowledging God, without acknowledging the demigods who are agents of God. When you do, then you are a thief. Stena eva saha. I think you saw that quote. Here you will see that it's mentioned in the 3.12, you will see one who doesn't acknowledge it is certainly a thief. Stena eva saha. So whoever does not acknowledge Krishna, Vishnu, and the demigods who are in that cycle and simply takes things artificially, utilize that. The whole world is based on take. Take away the forest, deforestation. Take away all the marine creatures and eat them up. Take away all the cows and animals and eat them up. Take away all the greenery. Drive away all these guys. Take all the natural resources. So what's happening? Ice caps are melting. Sea levels are rising. All the cities in the seacoast are drowning. The weather is getting hotter. Global warming. So much of nonsense is happening because you're not seeing the connection between everything. You cannot avoid God because it is His making. And you can see there are reactions to you doing things like this. So this new economy, the so-called economy, is so greedy and so ruthless and callous towards nature, towards the system set up by God. And they care to hoots for any authority. That's why everybody is suffering. The leadership is so bad. Krishna is saying that's why. Evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartayati hayah aghayur indriya ramo. Indriya rama. Indriya means for your senses, just for your pleasure alone you do. You don't acknowledge God. Moham parthasaji. He's living in vain. He will get a slap very soon. And he will be unsuccessful. So, understanding interconnectedness with God in the center, everybody should be acknowledged. Even the ant, the mosquito is part of the system. All the animals very nicely tune into the system. I heard that during the tsunami, there is a whole lot of bees 2 days before the tsunami came and hit. The entire lot of them migrated. And the scientists were trying to find out how do they do it. They went to safe place. They knew by connection with nature, because they're so much connected with nature, that this is going to happen. And they spoke among themselves and they all shifted. It's very amazing. And recently, there was this, in Himalayas, there's big flood and that some ice cap melt and all that. And there's a huge amount of fishes that came 24 hours before down the stream. There are so many fishes that people were catching with their hands. It seems, fishes. So many fishes came down. And immediately in 24 hours was a big, huge flood. They knew they came to safe place. They can hear. They can vibrate. All animals are connected. Sometimes animals get sick in the forest. And they'll go and fast. And they'll go and look for certain types of herbs and they'll eat that and drink water alone. And all the others will know this guy is sick. And they won't, be part of the flock and they'll wait for him. And he will get better within 1 day, 2 days of rest and everything. Then he'll join the flock. It's such an understanding. By seeing the atmosphere, by seeing the sun, by seeing the shout of one particular type of a bird, they'll make out so many things. They're all interconnected because the demigods, the whole of nature, Bhumi, earth, all of them are connected and in sync. It's only the human being who's out of sync. It's only human being who behaves so irresponsibly, who destroys his habitat, who gives trouble to all the other species, including the birds, plants, atmosphere, and everything. Most disconnected person. He screws up the whole planet, one species alone, right? Because he doesn't acknowledge God. He doesn't acknowledge the system he has set up for you to enjoy and be prosperous and happy. This is the system. That's what is religion. Religion means following the codes and laws of God so that you don't step on the toes of somebody else. You get what you want according to what you deserve, and you enjoy, you be responsible, and you will also gradually develop detachment and go back to God. This is the purpose. Okay? So I hope that helps you to understand Krishna's very important statement here about the system he has set up and how he wants us to follow it, how he has put demigods in place, how he has given us yajna. So how will I translate this into this day and age? So Prabhupada has explained, you can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is the yajna for this Kali Yuga. It is also described in the Vedic literature. It says that yajnayi sankirtana prayer yajantihi sumedasha. Medha means intelligence. Sumedha means those who are very intelligent. In Kali Yuga will do Harinama Sankirtana Yajna. And they will get the benefit. Right? The Lord himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to inaugurate it. And he is the Yuga avatar for Kali Yuga. All this is mentioned in the scripture. And there are enough quotations for all these things. So we follow that, we associate with devotees, we read Bhagavad Gita and understand more and more about how the setup is, who am I, where am I staying, who is God, what are the demigods, how are these interconnections, what are the laws, and therefore how I must conduct myself to live peacefully in this place. That's what we're understanding from Bhagavad Gita.